Welcome to the Reality Revolution. Thinking from. Those two words, two simple words, are the very secret to unlocking and transforming your life. Thinking from. It's the secret. Neville Goddard whispered to those who dared to dream beyond the ordinary. Thinking from allows you to transform your deepest desires into your lived reality, not through tireless effort, but by a simple shift of where your mind resides. Today we're exploring one of the most important concepts that you can ever know, and that is thinking from. This isn't about attracting what you want. This is about becoming a magnet so powerful that the universe can't help but deliver. You've tried manifesting, but have you lived from the end? Have you felt the thrill of your dreams fulfilled before they physically unfold? You exist within a quantum field. And as the observer, you directly affect the way this field behaves. I really wish that you could see your energy field. It's very much like one of those weather patterns that you see on the nightly news, where you can see the pressure storms and the temperature and the precipitation as it runs through the state you're in. If you were to see your energy field when you actually think from, creating all the sensory overtones of what it's like to be in a particular state, then you would see energies coming to you that are similar to what you are experiencing in that moment. If you can exist within the quantum field as if it's happening now, it's like a little glitch that happens. Suddenly your timeline shifts, suddenly the world around you shifts and starts to align with what you're thinking. And the more you do this, the more the world around you reflects what you're thinking inside. But in order to do it properly, you have to think from. And something very powerful happens when you, in your consciousness, go within yourself and daydream. Not think about something, but think from something. When I say think from something, you are looking through the eyes and feeling the feelings of that thing. So if you were to think from your cat, and your cat is looking up at you from the floor, you would see from his perspective. Everything would seem a little bit bigger. The walls would look different, the angle of everything. You would feel the fur on your back and your paws. You would have a keen sense of smell, and you'd feel your whiskers. That's thinking from the cat. If you want to think from the baby, you would rest in that crib, looking upward, feeling the small body you have in your small hands. This is what the actor does when they take on a role. It's not the normal way of thinking. It's not the way that you naturally think about anything. You usually are not thinking from. It is a technique, it is a trick, it is a way of thinking that you have to train yourself to do. Neville Goddard explains this in his lecture, I Am All Imagination, stating that I know the difference between thinking from my wish fulfilled and thinking of it. I am always thinking from where I am and of where I am not. Right now, I am thinking from this room and of my home, where my wife is now. But this room is more real now than where she is, because I am thinking from here and I am thinking of there. He then goes on to say that the secret is thinking from. When you enter into a state and think from it, you give it all the tones of reality. You give it all the sensory vividness that you can muster. And then when you open your eyes, you break the spell, you think, now what have I done? That was all imagination. The world would say that's all it need be, for imagination is God. You set in motion a reality you do not have now to devise the means which will be employed to take you from where you are physically to where you are in imagination. So listen to the words carefully. And now I go to prepare a place for you. And when I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and take you to myself, and that's where I am. There ye shall be also. If I go back and look at my own personal journey in trying to understand manifestation, the law of attraction, reality creation, these are things that I have dedicated my life to learning everything I possibly can about. It all comes down to this one thing: thinking from. If you can learn how to think from, you can learn that a simple shift in your mindset can attract unprecedented success, love, and happiness directly into your life. This is one of my secret dreams, that everybody learn this power, because it is the key to your freedom. Gone are the days of endless wishing and waiting. You can enter a world where your dreams manifest right before your eyes. There's a huge difference between thinking of or about something and thinking from it. To think of or about a desire is to recognize it as separate from yourself, an object or a state that exists outside of your current reality, perpetually at arm's length. This mode of thinking inherently acknowledges and even emphasizes the gap between the thinker and the object of their desire, reinforcing a sense of lack and separation. In stark contrast, to think from a wish fulfilled is to immerse yourself in the state of having already achieved that desire, to adopt the perspective and emotional landscape that accompanies the realization of that goal. This is not mere wishful thinking or daydreaming about a future possibility. Instead, it involves embodying the feelings, thoughts, and attitudes that you would have if the wish were already a present reality. It is a form of mental and emotional alignment that transcends just hoping and enters the realm of being. Throughout the Bible, this is the main point they continue to say. In Mark 11:24, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Believing that you've already received it is thinking from. Proverbs 23:7 says, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Suggesting that your reality is shaped by your innermost thoughts and beliefs about who you are when you thinketh in your heart. In Matthew 21:22, if you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. You simply have to believe that you have received it. Romans 12:2 tells us, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The idea is you don't have to believe what's going on in the outside world. You must think from the end of the world that you wish to be. Is that not what faith truly is? For in Hebrews 11:1 it says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. I can promise you, if you go to any artist, any athlete, any billionaire, any creator, that they went through a period of time of pure imagining from that state, thinking about what it would be like if they were catching a football in the Super Bowl, if they saw themselves on the big screen, or they were singing in front of a large audience. Every single one of those great artists that you think of have gone through a period of thinking from. In fact, every single success story that you see on TV, every successful person that you meet has thought from that state before they received it. Sometimes it just naturally happens. You go to college and you're constantly thinking about what it will be to be a doctor, and they teach you all the techniques and slowly put you through the process of imagining what it will be like. Many different college programs are basically teaching you to think from a particular state. The idea is for you to think from whatever state that is. And yes, this is not easy. For anybody to tell you it's easy, they're wrong. Thinking from is not merely a method, it is a way of being. It's a paradigm shift that invites you to inhabit your desires as already fulfilled. Thinking from asks you to step into the reality where your wishes are already realized, to live and think from that state. This is subtle and yet profoundly different than merely thinking about your desires. And it's the key to unlocking a more effective and empowering way to attract what you seek into your life. Now, the examples that Neville Goddard gives, and he has many, he's in the military and he wants to be out of the military, so he thinks from his apartment in New York City, sleeping in that apartment. And then one thing leads to another and he's released from the army and he is then there. Or he's in New York and he wants to go to Barbados, so he thinks from Barbados, imagining what it's like to be there, sleeping in Barbados. The smell, the humidity, the sound, all the elements of that place. And then suddenly he finds magically a way to go to Barbados, even though he doesn't have the money to do it. His examples are just the beginning, because as this community has applied these techniques, there are literally thousands of examples that I've encountered. I've been able to repeatedly do this in my life and see the results. But more importantly, as a coach, I've been able to advocate for this particular way of thinking and to see the results in other people. It is so incredible. It is so miraculous. And still, it feels like nobody believes me. Nobody believed Neville, even though he said it over and over again. Perhaps that was what we need to do. Perhaps we must never forget. It's something to easily forget, because it's not the natural way of consciousness. It's a pathway to realizing your innate ability to create and shape your reality. To think about a desire is to recognize it as separate from yourself, an object or a state that exists outside of your current reality, perpetually at arm's length. This mode of thinking inherently acknowledges and even emphasizes the gap between who you are now and where you want to be, in stark contrast to thinking from a wish fulfilled, where you immerse yourself in the state of having already achieved that desire, to adopt the perspective and emotional landscape that accompanies the realization of that goal. This is not mere wishful thinking or daydreaming about a future possibility. Instead, it involves embodying the feelings, thoughts, and attitudes you would have if the wish were already a present reality. It's a form of mental and emotional alignment that transcends hoping and enters the realm of being. For instance, imagining from the fulfillment of a dream job involves not just visualizing the job offer or the work itself, but living in the state of mind of someone who already occupies that role. It encompasses the confidence, satisfaction, and sense of accomplishment that come with the position, affecting how you speak, act, and interact with others, even before the external reality has caught up. Some go as far as to know what the office looks like and to imagine sitting in that office, the sound of the office, the people they're interacting with. The concept of thinking from is rooted in a rich history of philosophical and metaphysical traditions that explore the nature of reality, consciousness, and creation. And at its heart, it's the principle that the outer world is a reflection, an emanation, or a projection of your inner state of consciousness. You can see this idea echo across various traditions, from ancient Hermetic axioms, as above, so below, as within, so without, to modern interpretations of quantum mechanics suggesting that the observer plays a crucial role in shaping their observed reality. Neville repeatedly states that our imagination and our feelings are the real forces behind the manifestation of our physical reality. And according to Goddard, everything we see in the external world started as an imaginal act, a creative endeavor within the mind of the individual. Thus, by changing our internal state, our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, we can change our external circumstances. This principle challenges the conventional understanding of causality. This perspective empowers you to place the keys to change not in some external action that you take or some condition that is favorable to you, but in the realm of your inner self. Thinking from is a conscious act of alignment, a method of becoming in tune with the reality you wish to manifest. It requires a shift in focus from the external symbols of desire to the internal experience of already having those desires fulfilled. This is a huge difference. This shift, while subtle, will have profound implications on your life. The act of creation is not a matter of brute force or sheer willpower, but an elegant alignment and attunement with your desired state of being. To harness the power of imagination effectively, you must begin to learn how to visualize the wish fulfilled. This involves more than simply picturing your desired outcome. It requires embodying the feelings and experiences of that outcome as if it were already true. Here are some techniques that you can use to vividly imagine your wish already fulfilled. First of all, just begin by constructing a vivid scene. Choose a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. This scene should be concise and filled with sensory detail. Imagine it in the first person, seeing through your own eyes so it feels as real as possible. It can be a conversation with friends. It can be driving your new car into the garage. It can be walking into your new house. It can be a congratulations call from your new boss. The possibilities are truly endless. Secondly, you start to involve all your senses in your imaginings. Engaging all your senses in your imaginal act is critical. So the question is, what can you see, hear, touch, taste, and smell in this scene that you're constructing? The more sensory details you involve, the more real it feels to your subconscious mind. Oftentimes people will only use a visual. That is limiting your power. Imagine each of your senses to be a gateway that opens new powers into your manifesting. So when you are bringing in the feeling, the taste, the sound, each of those add a whole entire dimensional element to your manifesting. They must all be incorporated. Neville seemed to emphasize the tactile sense. He would always claim, I could put my hand on the counter. I put my hand on my son's hair as I ran it through. He would describe feeling the mist from the ocean as it hit his face on the boat. The third is to feel the emotion. The emotional component is critical. It's not just about how you physically feel, but feeling the emotion, the joy, the gratitude, or the peace that you would experience if your wish were already fulfilled. Emotion is the language of the subconscious mind and the heart, and the fuel that powers your imaginal act, making it manifest in the external world. The fourth thing to remember is to practice regularly. If you do this just one time, it might work, but in most cases, you get better and better at it. And so by doing this on a regular basis, you continually send out the signal that attracts the similar energy to you. Consistency is key. Dedicate time every day to practicing this. The best times are before sleep and upon awakening, as it is clear that your brain being in an alpha or theta state seems to work better in incorporating your subconscious mind and the inner self that you're trying to work with in creating the reality of your desires. Now, the fifth thing is to live from the end. Throughout your day, carry the feeling of your wish fulfilled with you. The end means if you're wanting to win the Super Bowl, that the Super Bowl is won, the confetti's in the air, the confetti is hitting you, and you're screaming in joy as people are running onto the field. That's the end for the one who wants to win the Super Bowl. And the sixth step is to let go and trust. After you imagine your wish fulfilled, you release it with trust and confidence, and then go about your day as if it's true. Try to avoid constantly checking for results, as this signifies doubt. If you're making it important, you're creating an emotion that is separate from actually already having embodied your wishes. So if it's urgent, if it's important to you, then those are emotions and feelings of separation. You must trust your imaginal act and trust that it's unfolding in the perfect way in time. When you master these things and steps, it will change your life forever. Understand that the concept of thinking from does not limit itself to abstract desires or emotional states. It extends powerfully into the realm of material manifestation. To manifest physical objects using this principle involves a shift from simply desiring an object to embodying the state of already possessing it. This shift requires a nuanced understanding of how your consciousness interacts with the material world, recognizing that your internal state can influence and ultimately manifest your external reality. I've said it before and I'll continue saying it. The more I say it, the more I say it to myself, the more I remind myself of this reality. I want to show you how you can use this technique to manifest a physical object. So first, identify your desire. Clearly identify a physical object that you wish to manifest. Be specific about it. What it is, including as many details as possible to make it vivid in your mind. The second step is just to understand the purpose. Reflect on why you desire this object. Understand the purpose it serves in your life. Adds emotional weight to your visualization, making the imaginal act more potent. The third step is to visualize ownership of the object. Envision yourself already in possession of the object. Imagine using it, enjoying it, and it being a part of your daily life. Construct a scene that implies the object is already yours. You can start with something as simple as a basketball. You desire a basketball, you understand your purpose of wanting to play basketball with it, and then you see yourself holding the basketball. And the fourth step is embodying the feelings of ownership. Focus on the feelings that possessing this object brings you. The happiness for owning the basketball, the satisfaction, the gratitude, and then the actual tactile feelings of holding the basketball in your hand. So you can try the imaginal touch technique. 1, you create a sensory scene. You picture a scene where you interact with a desired object. And if it's a new car, imagine driving in the car, feeling the steering wheel under your hands and the sound of the engine. And then secondly, you engage your senses. Make the imaginal experience as real as possible by thinking from it and involving all your senses. What does the object feel like? What sounds are associated with it? What does it look like in detail? And then third, just repeat that daily. Dedicate a few minutes daily to this exercise before falling asleep to imprint the sensory experience into your subconscious. Just try that technique. You don't have to believe me. I want you to just try the imaginal touch technique. Another exercise you can try is affirming the possession of it. So you can create a personalized affirmation. For example, I am grateful for my beautiful new home that provides comfort and safety. Imagine yourself saying that to a friend. Imagine your friend congratulating you on your new home. Then just incorporate those thoughts into your routine. You say the affirmation out loud, I'm grateful for this home that I now own. And then you imagine someone saying, congratulations on your new home. Repeat it over and over again. And that constant out loud saying it from, thinking from, speaking from. Another easy exercise is a gratitude journal. You write down you're grateful for something that you don't have yet. I'm so thankful for my new laptop that enables me to work effectively and creatively. Just write it down that you're grateful for that thing. Feel the gratitude for receiving it, and then let it go. The fourth exercise, and I've talked about it before, check out my episode on an actor's guide to creating the reality you desire. You can act as if. I go into much more detail there. But the simple exercise here is to first of all take actions that align with having the object. Begin to take small, practical steps that would align with owning the object. For a new car, this might mean clearing space in your garage. For a new house, start picking out decor, for instance. And then trust and let go. Try one of those exercises. It's a very easy way to start using the think from secret. Another thing that you can use this is to expand your relational dynamics. It will completely change your relationships and your interactions with others in the world. Thinking from not only applies to manifesting material desires, but it impacts your interpersonal relationships. And by adopting this approach, you foster a deep empathy and understanding, seeing the world from the perspectives of those around you. Empathy, this ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is foundational to strong, supportive relationships. So think from your partner. Look through their eyes. Put yourself in their shoes and see you from their eyes. When you do this, it completely changes the way that you think about the problems that you have with your partner. When you meet somebody on the street that's struggling or they're angry with you, when you are frustrated with your boss, think from their perspective. By doing this, you get to know what they're thinking, how they're thinking, and oftentimes you can understand their frustrations and resolve them. Sarah and Alex had been struggling with communication in their relationship. Sarah felt unheard and Alex felt misunderstood, and they decided to apply this principle by dedicating time daily to simply thinking from each other's perspective. They imagined themselves in their partner's situation, focusing on understanding the emotion and thoughts their partners experienced. And by doing this, they suddenly had a complete breakthrough. It fostered a deeper mutual understanding and empathy. The next time you get into an argument, maybe it's a family member, try to think from their perspective. You'll soon find why they're angry and understand it. And it gives you a way to speak back to them. You can say, I know how you're feeling. I'm sorry you're frustrated. I know it's difficult. When you speak these words to them, it's transformational. So right now, just choose a person with whom you wish to deepen your empathy. Spend a few minutes visualizing a day in their life from their perspective, and then imagine their feelings and their challenges and their joys throughout the day. Reflect on this experience. Identify one way you can show understanding or support based on your visualization. The more you do this, the more that you realize you are truly one. It's amazing how easy you can think from someone else's perspective. But you must remember that it is not enough to intellectually occupy the state of the wish fulfilled. You must emotionally inhabit it. This emotional alignment ensures that your internal state resonates at the frequency of your desires, drawing them into your reality with greater ease and speed. Aligning your emotions with the state of the wish fulfilled means cultivating the feelings that would naturally arise if your desires were already manifested. This is easier said than done, but it is possible. Some people tell me they can't do it. This alignment acts as a signal to your subconscious mind, reinforcing the reality of your visualization and accelerating the physical manifestation. There are some techniques to enhance this. You can try emotional scripting. So first of all, identify a desired emotion and start by identifying the emotions that you would feel if your wish were fulfilled. Would you feel joy, peace, gratitude, freedom, or a sense of accomplishment? Write an emotional script. Write a detailed script describing how you feel with your wish fulfilled. Include specific scenarios where these emotions are evident. The process of writing about it allows you to tune into the emotion in your body and engage with the script. Once you've written it down, engage with it, because it's easy to forget the emotional variance that's involved with your wish fulfilled. Another technique that you can try is the feeling visualization. So you choose a scene that implies your wish has been fulfilled. And then as you visualize, you focus intensely just on the emotions you're experiencing. Don't worry about what you actually see. And then try to amplify these feelings as much as possible. I have found, particularly when I use hypnosis on my clients, that asking to amplify and then asking my own self when I do it, to amplify the feeling, it seems to make it resonate. So imagine the feeling of receiving $1 billion from a lottery win, for instance, and then try to 10x that feeling. You just practice it regularly, trying to amplify the feeling. The process of amplification seems to help in the process of aligning emotionally. A third technique is anchoring. This could be a phrase, a gesture, or a small object that you can easily associate with the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When you're in a state of deep emotional alignment with your wish, when you are thinking from, you introduce your anchor and repeat this process until the anchor elicits that emotion on its own. So you simply use this phrase or this gesture, or you grab this small object and you immediately think from. Whenever you find your emotions are drifting away from the desired state, you can use this anchor to quickly move back into this feeling and thinking from without having to do any sort of meditation. Another technique for emotional alignment is an emotional palate cleansing. The key is to recognize non-aligning emotions. If you feel fear, worry, concern, or excess of importance, for instance, when you notice emotions that do not align with your desired state, you acknowledge them without judgment and imagine these emotions as a color or energy just leaving your body with each exhale. With each inhale, see yourself breathing in the colors or energies that represent your desired emotional state. By going through a process of seeing the emotions leaving your body, it can actually help enhance your ability to align properly. There's a critical element once you start to do this, and that is overcoming doubts and challenges. It's probably the most significant barrier. You start to think from this, and then there's a part of you that says this is not possible, that's very skeptical. There's always a little skeptic that's in you. So you must recognize when that skeptic comes out. There's a part of you that's questioning that thinking from can truly bring the desired outcome. Recognize that as well. And your doubt, it may stem from past disappointments or societal skepticism that you're tuning into, or misunderstandings of how manifestation works. Perhaps you've tried this multiple times and it didn't work. And then you say, Brian, I've done that. It didn't work. Did you think from? Is my only answer to you. It's a very, very good chance that you were not properly thinking from. There was a separation between what you were trying to manifest and what you were thinking of. Another thing that comes up is impatience. You continually think from, and it doesn't happen. I'm sorry, but some things take longer to birth than others. Horses take a year, humans take 9 months, Everything has its own set time. And impatience disrupts your emotional alignment. So you just must have patience and faith. It's going to happen at the proper time, at the proper birthing, and you continue to think from it. External circumstances can pop up that seem to disprove your emotional alignment with it. You're imagining that you're wealthy, and then in your outside world, you have bills that are due, or you're homeless on the street, right? There's external circumstances, unforeseen events that seem to contradict the fulfillment of your wish, and they will shake your faith. And they can make it difficult to maintain that state of belief. I promise you that if you continue to do this, if you're listening to this in one of those extreme external circumstances, just keep doing it. You have nothing to lose. It's a lot more fun than the place than you're at now. You're not insane for doing it. Simply imagine from. Think from that place in which you want to be. Don't worry about the outside world. It will begin to reflect your inner thoughts when you do this properly. Embrace the process. Stay present. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Stay in the now. Assume that everything is working to your advantage. A bridge of incidents are occurring, leading you to the fulfillment of your wishes. So the number one technique is to fall asleep thinking from. It's like a GPS. You must align yourself like a GPS in the place that you want to be. So if you live in New York and you want to be in Hawaii, then you are going to sleep and you're imagining that New York is to the east of you, many, many miles away. You must try to imagine your home that you may be sleeping in now and see it separate from where you're at now. Don't fall asleep in the place that you're at. Imagine the bed is different. You can do this. It's easy. And it's not complicated because when you're falling asleep, your eyes are closed, so you don't have to see anything. You can imagine the sounds, the feelings that you would have, because there are things you would be thinking about if your wish was fulfilled and you were going to bed in that state. There might be some satisfaction. There could be concerns and worries because naturally there are in some cases. Sometimes there's more responsibilities. Make it as realistic as possible. But fall asleep in that place and you will wake up in that place. Enter the scene. Easiest thing to do is not necessarily visualize a place or something happening while you're sleeping. Imagine that you're laying in bed in that place. Live in the end of it. That's the most powerful technique that you can use to think from, and that is to sleep from your wish fulfilled. Don't think about it. Don't hope for it. Don't pray for it. This is the ultimate form of prayer, is to be it, to think from it. I have so many stories that I could tell you about this. When I started my YouTube channel, I imagined I would love to make money doing YouTube episodes, but that seems impossible. There's just too many YouTubers out there. But I imagined thinking from being a YouTuber. I imagined myself posting a YouTube video every day, looking at the views, being excited, sharing my videos, talking about my videos. Everything I imagined in that state has happened. I wanted to publish a book, so I imagined myself holding my book in my hands. I felt the book in my hands. I could see my name on the book. I felt my fingers going through the book, turned it to the back and saw the book. I continued to imagine that, and my book was published. I wanted to own a Lincoln Navigator and didn't think I could do it. Seemed out of my comfort zone in order to purchase. But I knew what the Lincoln Navigator I wanted to purchase. I knew what the steering wheel was like in my chair. I knew that it had sort of a massage on the seats and a heater on the seat. So I knew what the steering wheel was like, and I knew what the interface was like because I'd had another Lincoln Navigator earlier times. So I saw myself playing the radio, holding the steering wheel. I felt the heat on my seat. I knew what it sounded like. I could feel the hum of it. I then went to the dealership and asked to do a test run, and I drove around, and as I did the test drive, I could see myself driving that car, which is why it's so effective when they put you in the car, because it immediately begins the process of you thinking from. That's why they love to have you drive around in the car. I have a friend that was longing for a career shift into a creative field. She was stuck in her corporate job. It was all numbers. She hated her job. And then she started to think from, applying it with intention, thinking from a dream creative job. It had nothing to do with what she did. So each night she visualized herself working in a vibrant, creative environment, engaging in work that she loved, feeling fulfilled and appreciated. She imagined the work and also the interactions with colleagues, the creative challenges she faced, the joy of solving them. Within months, she was offered a position that matched what she had been visualizing. She did not have the resume for it, which I found so shocking. They gave her this job. Another friend of mine had a chronic health condition. He was really struggling. He tried to think from his body being strong and healthy. He imagined himself participating in activities that he loved, that he had been unable to do since he had been chronically ill. He focused on the feeling of vitality and well-being, running around playing basketball, rather than on his symptoms. And then, suddenly, he had a significant improvement out of the blue, far beyond what he had experienced with medical treatment alone. This came from him thinking from the state of health. I know someone else that had struggled with relationships for years and felt alone. When I started talking to them, they didn't feel like they could get into a relationship, that it was outside the realm of possibility. They felt disconnected, unable to find a partner. They hated the dating world. And then we started talking about thinking from. So she began a practice of imagining life with her ideal partner, focusing on the feelings of love, focused on them sleeping next to them, eating dinner with them, sitting on the couch watching TV with them. Everything they did around the house, they were always imagining, thinking from that relationship. She imagined sharing laughter. This got her out of the mindset of thinking from her own situation where she was alone and immersed in her loneliness. And she was thinking from a loving relationship. Very soon, she was in this wonderful relationship. It was one of the coolest messages that I've ever got, to find out that they had found this relationship. When in reality, when I first started talking to them, I didn't know if it was possible. I could only teach what I knew, and them doing this process ended up being the key. The path of thinking from is both simple and profound. It invites you to shift your perspective to see the world not as it is, but as it could be, through the lens of your desired fulfilled. So I want you to start looking at objects and thinking from that object. I want you to start looking from everything around you, from your friends, from your pets. Look from the TV. I want you to look at every object and look from it. This will change the way you see the world. The more you integrate it into your daily life, the more natural it will become, and the more you will witness its power to transform your reality. There may be moments of doubt and times when your faith wavers and your vision seems clouded. In these moments, remind yourself of the successes, both big and small, that you've already experienced. Keep doing it. Encourage yourself to experiment, to apply thinking from in new and varied aspects of your life. There's no limit to the areas that you can use this to touch and transform your way of being. When it comes to material desires, spiritual desires, there is no limit to the use of this powerful form of thinking. practice this with a sense of joy and wonder, the world is a canvas, and your imagination is the brush. What you choose to create is limited only by the boundaries of your own conviction. Thinking from is the I am. When you say, I am rich, that's the point. That's why the I am is so powerful. That's why the I am is the name of God, because you are using the God power when you use the I am. So you can say statements from the I am perspective, and they reflect this amazing reality. So say these affirmations with me. I am effortlessly living from the fulfillment of my dreams. Every day I confidently walk in the reality of my desires achieved, surrounded by love, success, and happiness. I am the architect of my reality, constructing my life with thoughts and feelings of prosperity, health, and harmony. Gratitude fills my heart as I celebrate the manifestation of my deepest desires, already woven into the fabric of my life. I dwell in a state of fulfillment where every aspiration is already a part of my existence, attracting more abundance effortlessly. My imagination is a powerful catalyst, transforming my dreams into my lived reality with every detail perfectly in place. I live from the victory of my goals achieved. I am constantly in alignment with the universe. The essence of my desires is already within me. I embrace my power to manifest my reality from the end. I feel the joy of my achievements as present and tangible now. I am. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. I'd love it if you checked out my artwork. You can find it at www.newearth.art. And welcome to The Reality Revolution.